Is up, everybody, and welcome back to Zachary Reality. It is Zachary Reality. We are here today with Joe Ceraulo, who was almost so close to being cast on Taylor Frankie Paul's season of The Bachelorette. And Joe is going to give us the tea about what it was like casting for the season. And we're going to get to know him a little bit because we saw your picture when they put out the cast on Facebook. A lot of people really wanted to see you on the show. We were reacting to all of the guys. So, first of all, welcome to my podcast. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And thank you for saying that. It was obviously when I came home, didn't have my phone for about 4 or 5 days. So there was a large influx of messages and social media comments and videos sent my way. And what you just touched on about the positive comments actually was surprising when I feel like you see so many negative comments out there all the time. So it was definitely during a weird time. It was a nice little feel good moment to see that the internet did seem to like me a little bit going into this season.
No, we're all so excited. I think Taylor's season has so much hype. Like, it would have been so epic to have you there, but you were so close. How many people did you tell that you were going to film?
So I really only told like the necessities, parents, so that a missing persons report didn't get filed, bosses, and then just about 2 or 3 people in my really close circle because when I was going for, filming, they asked for some B-roll and some videos of you like out shopping, getting new clothing, getting ready for the season, doing, stuff, doing hobbies where you live. So in my case, I live right by the ocean. I'm in Brentwood, and so I was, doing some beachy stuff. And so those like 2 or 3 people that had to film it because they ultimately had to sign like materials releases being like, I filmed this, but I'm consenting to it being used. So all in all, probably like 7, 8 people knew.
Yeah, and they were all super excited for you.
Yeah, they definitely were, which ultimately is a bit of a letdown because there was a lot of support there coming from my camp, whether it was, my parents or, those really close friends. Even my 2 bosses were actually really excited. So letting them know, a few days later, like a week later, that I was back and available to work, they almost seemed more disappointed about that than me.
No, because when I saw you were back on social media and you messaged me or whatever, I was like, oh, you must have got sent home night 1.
Right.
I'm like, you're back so soon. But I guess when they released the 30 guys or whatever, not all of the guys make the cut. They cut a couple. Do you think you were the only person cut from that list?
That's a great question. I have no idea. Honestly, there was no reasoning or explanation given to me at all, which I will say this was, a really interesting process the entire way throughout. That's kind of the only negative experience I had was, if you're going to send me home, go ahead and send me home. I get it. Business decisions have to be made, but at least, tell me why. Like, don't look me in the eye and say, I don't know, when you're obviously in a position of knowing. That was really my only gripe with the entire process. But I don't know if it was just me. I don't know if it was me and 5 others. I have no idea. All I know is that if I did make it to night 1, there was a 0% chance I was going home night 1. So that's the disappointing part.
Okay, we'll get there. We'll talk about Taylor. But I guess that if someone else was cut, maybe they would have reached out to you because you have been pretty vocal on your social media that you were cut.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense, I guess, for them if they've seen any of the stuff to reach out. But yeah, like I'm not, keeping any secret. I've got nothing to hide. I'm not going to sit around and be embarrassed about the fact that I, didn't ultimately make it to night 1 of filming. To me, it's just kind of funny. I think it's ridiculous that they released the men without it being the actual list of men, but it's honestly led to an entertaining few days.
They usually release people on Facebook, and I think it happens every year where 1 or 2 people get cut from that Facebook release. So I hope that someone reaches out to you so you can kind of bond, and maybe some of the guys will reach out to you when they get sent home from Taylor's season, which is filming right now. Who knows how far they already are into filming? They could be a week in. You think like 2 weeks in?
Yeah, I would say probably at this point around 10 or so days, give or take a little bit. That would be my best guess. I saw something online. People were sending it to me about a group date that they're having, I believe, not far from where either of us live. They're doing like a group date that the general public can attend. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't, it didn't cross my mind to maybe show up and stir it up a little bit, cause a little drama, see if I show up to the group date and Taylor all of a sudden loses interest in the guys she's there with.
Hey, you never know. I mean, that's fun. Maybe I should show up too. But to set the scene, you're in your 20s, you're from Long Island, New York, right? And then you moved to LA and work in sports. Like, can you tell everybody what you're doing for work and why you decided to apply for the show?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like you, pretty bizarre. We're from just a couple towns over, back on Long Island, and now we're living just a couple neighborhoods over from each other here in LA. Probably a different trajectory, but similar geographically. Yeah, I was, always wanted to work in sportscasting and graduated college during COVID. 2020 was my final semester. So there were, as you can imagine, no jobs in media to be had. I pivoted. I worked in cybersecurity for a little bit. I was actually a nanny for a school year, which was something that I thought was going to get leaned into this season, being that Taylor has 3 kids. I've got a lot of experience with kids, even though I have none of my own. But yeah, just kind of did what I had to do to make ends meet. And then I got a job in the sports media space out here in LA in 2022. So I ran with it, moved out here. The company practically collapsed. They had mass layoffs. So after about 10 months, was on my own. I was bartending over here on the West Side. And then I slowly but surely got back into television, and sports television is where I'm still working today.
Are you allowed to say like the company you work for?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I work for 2 companies right now. I work for CBS and for VSiN, doing sports talk, a lot of the sports gambling stuff, but a little mix of regular commentary as well. And it's a blast. I mean, I'm living my absolute dream. I love what I do.
Which sports do you like to talk about?
I cover a little bit of everything. I played baseball longer than any other sport in my life, so that is, a big one for me. But obviously, the NFL, when it comes to media and what people want to talk about, that's always king. And then I also do a little college basketball, because that's, I would say, slightly more niche for some people. So yeah, MLB, NFL, college hoops, those are certainly the ones, because I track all my picks and my record publicly. Those are the 3 that I've got the most success with.
Do you care that the Dodgers just won?
This is going to be an unpopular opinion. I actually hate the Dodgers. I'm one of the few people in Los Angeles that is not happy, not celebrating this. I'm still a New Yorker at heart, right? So even though I've been out here 3.5 years, and I probably maybe will be out here to stay, I would say probably out here to stay, I'm still a huge Mets fan. So I'm still sour at the Dodgers knocked the Mets out of the playoffs last year. Yeah, I don't like the Dodgers at all. I was pulling for Toronto. Also, I figured it would have been funny seeing a few people maybe in Washington, D.C. be pissed off if Canada won the World Series,
Kind of. I grew up like knowing about the Mets. Obviously, I'm from New York, so I went to plenty of Mets games and stuff, but I don't care about certain teams anymore. But I get into football. But good to know that you like sports. But how did you end up getting cast for Taylor's season? Did you apply? Did they reach out? And what made you decide that you wanted to do this?
Yeah, so it was pretty bizarre. I actually didn't apply. One of my friends in passing mentioned that she had nominated me over the summer, and I kind of like laughed it off. Oh, that'd be cool. Like, thanks, whatever. And then nothing from that point on. September 8th, I actually woke up to an Instagram DM. I didn't know if it was real. I didn't know if it was spam or what. And it was asking me about, if I was interested in coming on the show. The Bachelorette hadn't been announced yet at that point, but I was told, essentially, once I said my age, I was told that I was too young, and the conversation never lasted beyond, the initial DM and then a few text messages after that. Well, September 10th. So I'm 27. I turned 27 back in June. So yeah, I'm 27. And it was funny because 2 days later, September 10th, the news comes out that it's going to be Taylor. She went on Alex Cooper's pod, and that all came out. And I immediately got a text back from the person who 2 days prior said I was too young. And she said, I've been told from my higher ups that for the quote, right 27-year-old, they would make an exception. So if you'd like, we can have your Zoom interview tomorrow. So I did like a little phone interview right then and there on the spot, official Zoom interview that got sent to, as far as I know, the ABC higher ups was the next day. And then I was told, hey, it's a waiting game from this point on. So September was, that was really it. Like the 8th and the 10th, they reached out. The 11th, I did my Zoom, and then nothing the rest of the month, which actually kind of worked out because the next day, I'm not trying to take like a morbid turn here, but the next day on the 12th, I actually got a call saying to come home to New York immediately to say goodbye, essentially, to my grandmother. And so I ended up being in New York for like the rest of the month with everything that transpired there and my grandma passing. So I went from like being, a real high of like, oh, this might actually happen. They reached out, they wanted to interview me, to then, obviously a low of losing grandma. And then I got back to LA and was just kind of sitting with everything. It was like the first time being alone in 3 weeks after nonstop family stuff. And my second day back in LA, October 1st, the phone rang and I was told like, hey, this is a go. We're going to move you ahead. And so then from October 1st to, the 20th is when they sent like the big black car for me. those 3 weeks were just like nonstop. It was a lot.
Well, first of all, I'm so sorry about your grandma. Like,
Oh,
my
thank you.
condolences. Second of all, I feel like maybe Taylor had a age limit, and then she maybe was convinced to get a few younger guys. Like, Taylor's 31, right? So I don't
Right.
know if she wants to go super young. 27 doesn't seem that far off. But do you think it was always Taylor that was the Bachelorette, or do you think there was someone else they were in talks with?
I think, I mean, and I have no knowledge to this. This is all
Yeah.
speculation. I think it was supposed to be a Bachelor season,
Yes,
honestly.
it was.
And yeah, okay. And then that once Taylor said it, I don't think there was any other Bachelorette in question. I think once Taylor said it, they realized the following she has from both, Mormon wives and then obviously her social media. And they figured that that was going to probably draw the most viewers. But I don't think there was ever another woman in question. I think it was Taylor from the start. And as far as the age thing, it's a bummer because I mean, I've been in relationships with people older than Taylor. 4 years, especially, I feel like at our point is nothing, and that didn't deter or scare me away at all. So if that maybe deterred her before she got a chance to know me, that's a bummer. If that deterred production before they got a chance to see Taylor and my dynamic together, that's a bummer too.
I mean, like, if you were already cast and you already were there, like, what's the point of
Right.
just letting you go in? Like, I don't know what the logic is and why they cut you, because if they can fit as many people as they want, they could just send like 8 guys home night one, or 9 guys, or
Right.
7 guys.
Yeah, I
Right.
think they actually did that for what was it, the season where they had the 2 bachelorettes? I'm
Rachel and
blanking. I
Gabby.
know Pilot Rachel, yes, and Gabby was the other one. I think they had more guys. Now I get it because there's 2. You want more guys. That does make sense there. But the way I view it, yeah, 24, 25, 26, there's no difference at that point. I mean, it's just you're sending 6, 7, 8 home the first night. That can all be adjusted. But I mean,
Yeah.
it would have been a fun experience. I certainly thought Taylor and I would have hit it off. I think I have the personality to, I would say not combat in a negative way, but to be sharp with her, to have good banter with her. Like there's no doubt. I mean, I didn't know as much about her as I do now. She's a lot. She's a big personality. I say a lot in a great way. I consider myself to be a lot too. And I think, some of the guys who might be a little more mild mannered might end up not being the right fit for her.
Well, basically what was happening is that they do The Bachelor every year that airs in January. This is the first
Right.
year ever since like the beginning that they're not having a Bachelor in January. So
Yeah.
I think that they were trying to find a guy for a while. And a lot of my friends or people reached out to me saying they were in casting, like a lot of girls. And I wonder if they just couldn't find a good guy that they fit with, that they really liked, whether it was someone from a previous season or if they wanted to find a random guy. And I think this idea with Taylor sparked really organically, with her relationships at ABC and with some of the
Right.
TikToks she made. So they were just like, you know what? Let's just screw it, make Taylor the Bachelorette. She will give us the most dramatic season ever, actually. And I think that's how it came to be so fast and why it got everybody like, whoa, what's going on? And then they threw together this season.
Yeah, I mean, it did certainly seem like it was thrown together a little last minute. And that's not to say like things weren't done well. Things were, I mean, my experiences of everything that I did get to do in that short stretch of time went fine and went smoothly. But yeah, it is weird not having, a Bachelor announced for January. And I really thought it was going to be Jason Tardik. I mean,
Me too.
it seems like he's a guy, he was on the show, 7 years ago?
Mhm.
And he's still super relevant. So, I
Mhm.
mean, he seems really well liked. He's still relevant. I thought he was going to be the clear choice. So it did surprise me a little bit that it fell through. But I don't know. Maybe they sent me home because they thought I'd be better suited to be the next Bachelor. Maybe that's at the end of the day why.
Right. There's got to be some reason behind this for sure. So have you seen a lot of The Bachelor, and have you seen The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives?
So I've never seen Secret Lives. Honestly, I never even heard of that show until she was announced back on September the 10th. I did used to watch The Bachelor, actually. I started my senior year of high school, and I think this is the first time I'm publicly admitting this, but I started watching it as an excuse to talk to girls before class started. They would all huddle up in the hallway and talk about last night's episode. And I was like, great, there's my in. I'm going to start watching. So JoJo and Jordan was the first season I watched. Ironically, Jordan's in the same line of work as me, both sportscasters, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, I watched pretty much every season religiously from JoJo and Jordan up until Matt James. And then I kind of stopped after Matt's season and just started again last year with Grant's season because I knew one of the girls on it, one of the contestants on it. So I had to tune in and watch, and then I watched Paradise as well.
Oh, so who did you know?
I know Carolina because we were
Oh, I know
actually.
Carolina.
Oh, do you? That's funny. We were on a TV show together a couple years ago during the strike on Fox called We Are Family, and Anthony
Mm.
Anderson was the host. So she actually, like, they situated 100 of us in the, interactive audience, whatever you want to call it, and she was right next to me. So
Mm.
over those like 3 weeks of filming, we got to know each other a bit.
Oh my God, I wish you could have asked her for advice.
Yeah, that would have been fun. I mean, I'm friends with a couple people that have been on, mainly from my industry, like Clay Harbor,
Mm.
probably my closest friend from a past season. But yeah, I decided to actually go into this not letting any of them know and not seeking out advice from any of them. I was like, I'm going to go in and just take it for what it is and see where it goes.
How could you not want to like binge The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives when you find out Taylor is the next Bachelorette and could potentially be the love of your life?
Honestly, because I wanted to give Taylor a clean slate. I listened to Call Her Daddy, and that
Mm-hmm.
was the only background information that I had going in. I really wanted to get to know Taylor for Taylor. And,
Mm-hmm.
I know stuff has happened in the past. I've had, people have sent me like articles and stuff when it got announced. And I don't really care about any of that. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to know Taylor for who Taylor presented herself to me as at this point in time here in late 2025, not what happened in 2023, not this and that about Dakota or whatever. Like, I don't care about that drama. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
happened with her and Dakota happened. I'm not gonna let that influence, or at least I wasn't going to let that influence the way I viewed her if I was given the chance to actually get to know her throughout this process.
That's fair. And I think a lot of people are wondering if he's going to show up throughout the season.
Yeah.
And from what I heard, because I have some inside sources, like I think that that's definitely a conversation and it's a possibility and it probably will happen, whether it's just a conversation for them to just like hash things out. I think it's definitely going to happen. I think later on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I have no inside sources, so you probably know more than I do, but I was preparing for that the whole time, I would say, and I think I'm a pretty low drama individual. Like, I'm not there to start crap with the other guys. If Taylor likes me, if Taylor wants me, she's going to make that known. I'm going to get date cards, this, that, and the other. I don't need to ever try to knock another guy down to make myself look good. It's counterproductive. I will say the thought of Dakota showing up, that's like the one thing that I think could have gotten, a little extra spice out of me. I would not have been
Mm.
happy to see Dakota there just because it's like, hey, you had your chance. You acted a certain way. You lost your chance. Now, whoever is left at that point, now it's our turn. But
Mhm.
I would not have liked if Dakota showed up, but I was expecting it.
Yeah. So let's run it back a little bit because this is like where we get the good stuff. You were cast for the show and you did get sequestered in a hotel for a couple of days
Yeah.
and you filmed some type of cast photo as well or took a couple pictures.
Yeah, went through pretty much everything that you do, in the pre-filming process. Did my photo shoot, the cheesy with the rose, like them throwing it to
Mm.
you and you catching it, smelling it, holding it out, all that, fun stuff. Did the entire photo shoot. Went through some video shoots as well. Whether it was stuff that could have been maybe used for an intro package night one when you step out of the limo, and then it
Mm.
cuts to show you a little more about the guy. Social media promos. There was a video of me bartending. I used to be a bartender briefly. So yeah, I went through a lot of video shoots, a lot of social media stuff. Even did a couple sit down interviews with magazines and whatnot. So it did really feel real. It felt like it was all going to happen. And I knew going into the hotel that there was a chance you go to the hotel and you don't actually step out of the limo night one.
Mm.
They're very clear about that. I was fully aware of that. But it did start to feel real, I would say, around Thursday when I had completed all of the necessary shoots and interviews. And then, like, they sent a little swag bag to my room, and there's a letter in it that I actually still have right here that
Mm.
essentially says, like, congratulations, you've made it. We fell in love with you. We hope Taylor and America fall in love with you next. At that point, that was like the first time I let my guard down. And then 24 hours later, I was in a car on my way home. So it was kind of ironic in a twisted way how that worked. But it did seem like it was all materializing and all very real, late in that week.
So they just like tell you, they knock on your door and you're like, hey, like you're not going to make the show. You have to go home. And then you live in California. So they just Uber you back 40 minutes to your house.
Yeah, just the same car service that picked me up, sent me home. It was a Friday night at like 6 p.m. Yeah, the way it happened was odd because so when you're in the hotel, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the guys don't meet each other. We're not allowed to talk. We're not allowed to cross paths. I actually saw one guy who I think was Shane when, which ironically, he was the other 27-year-old when One of the handlers came and took me for like a walk at nighttime. We were walking around the hotel because I was like, can I get some fresh air? Like, I've been in a hotel room all day. I need a little fresh air. So we were going through for a walk around the hotel. And then I saw a guy and I was like, oh, he's definitely one of the other guys. Looked like bored out of his mind, chilling on like in his hotel room. I'm like, oh, that's one of the other guys for sure. But yeah, just, sequestered that whole week. I was working out when the news came. So we would all get like 30-minute allotments of time in the gym. I got escorted down to the gym, was 10 minutes into the workout, and then a different handler comes in and is like, hey, so-and-so producer wants to speak to you. Can we go meet with her? And I was like, yeah, is there any way that could happen at 4:30 after my workout? Or does it have to happen now? He was like, has to happen now. She's busy, but we'll take you back to work out after. So I was like, great. In my mind, going home is at this point the last thing I'm thinking of. I was like, it's got to be storyline, maybe, talking about what we're going to do when you get out of the limo, that type of thing. And then, yeah, I get up to my room and I kind of knew instantly from the look on this person's face. They did not look happy. They looked like a weird or difficult conversation was about to ensue. And yeah, I was just told by two people that you're going home. Asked if, I had any questions because I kind of just stood there silently for a minute. And I said, could you tell me what happened, why this conclusion was come to ultimately? And I was told, I don't know. So I don't know. I don't really believe that. I wish it was handled with a little more respect and dignity on that part than, just being told, I don't know. And then, bye. But yeah, it is what it is. And that's ultimately how it went down.
So are you just like coming up with scenarios in your head, or are you just like, you know what, it's out of my control, I'm just gonna move on? Because you seem pretty composed about it, and that's normal to be angry and upset, like when someone tells you that after all you just went through.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal. Again, maybe it's because I work in, a different side of television, but television nonetheless. Like, I get it. I mean, I think one misconception is that people, meet me and they're like, oh, this guy, he's working in television at 27 years old. He's had everything handed to him. No, there's been a lot of rejection along the way. So rejection doesn't faze me. Maybe that's why I'm taking it so well. I get it from the business side of things. Again, for me, it's just more like the respect and the humanity of at least tell me why, right? Like if you're a coach cutting a kid from a sports team, tell the kid why. Tell the kid what he's got to work on, over the winter before next season. Like, just tell me why. I could take a hard truth. I always say I'd rather a hard truth than an easy lie. Like, just give it to me how it is. Maybe it's the East Coast and a Zach, but I'm like, shoot straight with me here. Don't look at me in the eye and tell me I don't know when you do know the answer. Just shoot straight with me.
That's just a lesson that you have to, everyone who moves to the West Coast has to learn, because people here are so much more comfortable with just like giving you BS.
Yeah.
And it's so normalized to be just full of shit on the West Coast and in California. Like people on the East Coast are just so much more honest and direct and straight to the point. And people here are just not like that. But also I feel like with TV, like sometimes there's things that are out of our control. It doesn't sound like you did anything wrong. It just seems like it wasn't in the cards. And it doesn't seem like it would be Taylor's decision, because like she didn't even know you. So I can't imagine her writing you off. So it must just be like some sort of network thing, or the amount of number of people they wanted,
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I don't think it was Taylor either. I know like my dad called me and he was like, oh, Taylor had to send you home because you're too young or whatever. I'm like, no, I don't think it had anything to do with her. And frankly, from what I've come to learn about Taylor's type on the internet in the past week or so, I think I would have been there a very long time. I don't think there would have been any shot of me going home night one had I stepped out of the limo. I think I would have been there, frankly, until the very end. So I don't think it had anything to do with Taylor. I think it was, whatever higher ups in production made that decision. But yeah, it wasn't anything on my end. I had nothing, frankly, like truthfully speaking, I had nothing but great encounters and experiences with every person working on the show who I dealt with. There was not a single negative experience. Everyone was really nice. No complaints in that respect whatsoever. And, they put you through rigorous background checks to get on. Like I had to get FBI fingerprinted. I had a meeting with a private investigator, a meeting with a psychiatrist. The private investigator went through all my socials. Like they, because that's so big. How many times do we see nowadays that people, they're on TV and then it's like, oh, look at this awful tweet from them in 2013.
Right.
Like, fortunately, I mean, I grew up with a, stepfather who was NYPD and a mom who's a private investigator. I knew better than to put stupid stuff on my social media.
But even
But
people like that still get cast on The Bachelor. I mean, there's always a scandal about
yeah.
something on Twitter, like
Yeah,
every
there's always
year.
like a Garrett or a Jed or something, I
Hmm.
suppose. But yeah, no, that's not my style. So as far as the background check and getting cleared, no, nothing bad happened. And that's the part where I'm like, I wish I was just told up front what did happen, because nothing bad happened.
Well, maybe you'll get the answer one day, and we'll ask Taylor. I'll ask Taylor the next time I see her. Okay.
Amazing. I appreciate that. It is a shame that things never got to materialize, because I really do believe we would have hit it off.
She's really chill and cool, but I'm worried for her because I just don't know how present she'll be able to be. I know she has like
Mm.
so much going on in her life, and I don't know if she really is ready to like settle down and commit to like the serious bachelor relationship. So I think she's just going to make it her own season. It's going to truly be Taylor's version. And I do think
Love
it will
that.
be unmissable TV. So I'm very excited about it. The premiere date is March 22nd, which is very far away. So a lot
Very
of Bachelor
weird too,
Nation
a
fans
Sunday
are
night.
Sunday night's not a bad idea.
I mean, it's not, especially like once football season's over. I mean, what are people watching on Sunday nights? But
Mhm.
that did strike
Yes.
me as weird. Has that ever happened before? I mean, it's been Mondays as long as I know it.
Well, the Golden Bachelor is on Wednesdays right now, and sometimes they do air on Tuesdays.
Okay.
Monday usually is like the OG thing,
Right.
and there's always a show on January. So this is just shocking that it's late. They are doing like an HGTV show with some Bachelor people, which will air, I think, in January. So
Oh,
that could kind of
is that about the
fill it.
mansion being remodeled?
Yes, it was remodeled by like 12 contestants. They redid like every room
Nice.
in the
Yeah. Well,
mansion.
too bad. I wish I got to see it.
Oh my God, they literally just wrapped that like probably like a week or two before the guys would have moved in.
Yeah, I was getting excited too, because I heard the gym was brand new. I heard they just put in like a
Mhm.
sauna in there. So that part I was excited about. Being told that for the first couple of days I might be sharing a bedroom with 5 other guys, less excited about. But the
Yeah,
gym and sauna sounded appealing.
I know. And what about Utah? Would you have moved to Utah?
I mean, it definitely would have been, if I was ultimately the one proposing and getting engaged at the end of this, yeah, that would have been a serious conversation had along the way. People, I feel like it's a tough question to answer right now, right? Because like I never met Taylor, and producers
Yeah,
would
yeah.
ask before, like, how do you feel about moving to Utah? And I at no point was like, oh, I can't wait, because let me meet Taylor first. If there's something here, then that'll be worth it. But
Mhm.
I feel like, to answer that blindly, I don't think any guy who has never lived in Utah can just blindly be like, oh, I'm thrilled about it, without lying through their teeth. Because you have to see how things materialize. If she and I met and I was wrong and there was no chemistry and nothing worked out, then, otherwise I would never move to Utah. So it was dependent, obviously, on how things went, but it would have been heavily considered. I understand that she's got the 3 kids, and it's something
Mhm.
that if I really did, come to ultimately fall for her, I absolutely could have seen myself doing that, if that's where the experience led me.
Do you have any predictions for the season, and are you gonna watch?
I will watch.
Yeah.
I'm not in the business of burning bridges. I'm not in the business of sour grapes. If they called me tomorrow and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna do a bombshell this season, and we want you to
Mhm.
come in and stir things up," in the middle of the season, I'd be like, "Awesome, let's do it. I'll pack my bags right now." I don't burn bridges. I don't have sour grapes, so I will be watching for sure. My big prediction is that I do think Dakota is going to come stir things up.
Mhm.
And I will say this: I think Dakota is going to ruin maybe something good that she has with one of the other guys. I
Oh,
think that
no.
he might end up getting in the way of a good opportunity for her, because he just doesn't seem great. Like, there's no other way to put it. He does not seem great. I saw one clip of them on the other show that got sent to me, where he like turned her parents against her, and that's just like, what are we doing here as a man?
Mhm.
So I don't really have a lot of respect from what I've seen about him. She seems great. I feel bad about what she had to deal with him. But I would say, if the guy is there, if Dakota doesn't ruin it, and I'm kind of going based off a lot of comments I saw my name and Doug's name in a lot of the same comments. I could see Doug. I think he kind of looks like Dakota. Seems like a good looking guy. I don't know any of these guys' personalities, but I would say my money would probably be on Doug.
I think you have to watch the Mormon Wife show. It's so good. It's so juicy. And season 3 comes out November 13th, which is next week or whatever.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah.
I think that will be like really relevant and like give a lot of background into how she even got offered the Bachelorette. I think they're going to cover that on the season.
Oh, I mean, that would be entertaining. Look, like I said, I didn't want to watch it going into this experience, because, I don't care, like even just in dating out in the wild in LA, right? Like I don't care about your past. I don't care. I want to know about your past as we get to know each other, but I'm not going to make prejudgments. I'm going to, get to know the person who you present yourself to me as right here in the moment. But now that, I'm not meeting Taylor this fall, then maybe it would be a good idea for me to check in on that show.
And maybe they'll ask you to come back next year, hopefully. But I do think it's interesting that you're sharing your experience in casting, because you ultimately were cast and not cast. And I was wondering if there was some sort of like NDA or something, because I was cast on a reality show like maybe 5 years ago. They reached out to me. They wanted me to do it, but they said I wasn't allowed to even talk about the casting for like over a year.
Yeah, I mean, with this, it all got void once you're not on the show, right? Like, I mean, there's nothing I could spoil. I don't know about anything that's going on from night one and on. I mean, I don't know about anything from the moment I left. So there's nothing about the actual season I could spoil. And yeah, fortunately, that did all get void once I was ultimately not selected. They're very clear. Like like every other paragraph is, we can choose to not cast you at any time. Like they don't. Nothing, even the contract you sign does not say you're definitely going to be on. So they do really, cover those bases in that way.
Do you read everything, or did you have like a lawyer or like your dad to kind of oversee all the paperwork as well?
No, I read I've never signed a contract without reading like every single page.
Yeah.
I've had property managers get annoyed at me at apartments and they're like, come on, could you speed this up? And I'm like, no, I'm going to read every single page that I sign my name to.
Yeah. Now you work in media, so you're going to be potentially like covering the season, you think, a little bit of The Bachelor, because you've been posting about just like not getting on the show. So this is good content for you.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, what's actually really funny is that last season I had done a little bit. I was hosting a 5-night-a-week, 3-hour-long television show, and it was a sports betting show. But, sometimes when you're hosting by yourself late nights, you veer off a little bit. And I was like, what would be entertaining that's a little break from sports betting? And I did a segment on the opening episode, night one of Grant's season, because Juliana really caught my attention the way that she got Grant's attention by bringing out the cannoli. I'm Italian from New York. She's Italian from Massachusetts. And I did this whole bit on my show where I was like, look, if that was me, I'm doing what Claire did. Send everyone else home night one. I found my person. You come out with a cannoli. That is the way to my heart. Unquestionably the way to my heart. So, every now and then, if an opportunity comes up, I will touch on it and cover it. I don't really do a lot of pop culture stuff. My stuff is predominantly sports, but maybe this whole experience is opening up a bit of a new realm for me.
I hope so. It was lovely to meet you. I'm glad that we connected. And I'm a major Bachelor fan. So if you ever want to talk about the show or, do some watch parties when it airs, definitely, hit me up.
Yeah, absolutely, Zach. It was great meeting you too. And I really appreciate you having me on. And, if you know any eligible bachelorettes in Los Angeles, I am living on the West Side. And, I was really excited about this opportunity. I was at the right place in my life, I thought, to find someone. So, feel free to send them my way.
I will. Thank you all for watching and listening. Rate this podcast, give it 5 stars, like and comment, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody.